Mr. Waltz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to build on the obvious frustration you're hearing from this committee, General and Ms. Schaefer. Just a quick question for you. My understanding is military court-martials are public. Those proceedings and results of those proceedings are public, correct?
Representative, I'm not an expert on how that process occurs, but I do know at the end of the process of a court-martial, that record becomes part of the public domain.
It is. I would hope, General, as the Army G357, you'd be very familiar, and I would certainly expect you, Ms. Schaefer, to be familiar. Non-judicial punishment is published. Of course, the names are not published, but the act of non-judicial punishment is published. That's public information. I'm just telling you, I'm actually not asking you. I know it to be true. So
It can be made public. That's right. That's
so
correct.
in this case, and there is a fundamental disconnect under this Department of Defense between taking responsibility and accountability. And we've seen that all the way from the top. So you're taking responsibility for basically mislabeling tens of thousands of Americans as extremists. But there's no accountability that you're willing to make us aware of. And as you know, as a commander of a unit, you have soldiers lose sensitive items, you have soldiers conduct misconduct, and the other soldiers don't see accountability. That's not good for unit cohesion and unit morale, is it?
We, Representative, that accountability is an important and vital process of maintaining good order and discipline. We use a wide variety of means.
In this case, has there been any accountability?
So again,
A number of which, not asking for names, don't want to violate anyone's privacy, but our constituents and taxpayers in a public forum deserve to know, yes or no, according to the determination of your investigation, was there any level of accountability?
Representative, I've made it clear that I'm not going to comment on specific actions taken by the chain of command. The chain of command concluded the investigation and followed through with actions appropriate
I would
to that chain of
encourage
command.
you to talk to the chief and talk to the Department of the Army. Your unwillingness to answer that question, which is clearly a policy decision you have made, not binding by us or anything statutory, is not only damaging to the public's view of the Army, and we're having a real problem with the public signing up to serve in the Army, it's also damaging with civil-military relations right now. I just want to address titling for a moment, since we're on the topic of extremism. And titling is a process where a soldier comes under investigation, not charged, not prosecuted, just merely under investigation, and they're essentially flagged in a series of databases. And there's been a real issue with those flags then getting lifted because the soldier isn't informed, maybe moves on to serve in other capacities, in civilian capacity that may need a background check, maybe seeks for re-enlistment, and they're barred. I mean, we have story after story that's come to this committee of lives ruined because of this secret flag that goes on their file and that they're made unaware of, but other agencies like the FBI and others doing background checks are. So because of a congressional inquiry, 2,200 soldiers who were flagged, never charged, were titled. Fortunately, due to the good work of this committee and the responsiveness of the Army, it was reduced significantly. But I'm worried about the broader policies still in place. So, Ms. Schaefer, going forward, will soldiers be notified of a titling designation in a prompt manner and given a chance to appeal it?
Sir, I'm not familiar with the specific policies related to that. But
You set policy for manpower.
Yes, I understand that. And I have heard that there had been an issue, but I don't know what the policies are in place. And
That's incredibly disturbing. I mean, that was a specific congressional inquiry that caused a 100-fold reduction.
it may have happened before I came into the seat.
Okay, among the penalties listed for when a soldier's titled is a denial of re-enlistment. So that could have obvious impacts on retention. So you would be unfamiliar with any type of due process there is for a soldier never charged, who wishes to continue their service, but yet this titling activity takes place, you're unfamiliar.
I will look into it.
I would ask you to become very familiar. This has been incredibly disturbing. And come back to this committee with answers to those questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Horsford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Banks, and Ranking Member Kim, to the General and to Dr. Schaefer.